I passed your test. Fate has a twisted sense of humor, it seems. I suppose you think I'm some sort of monster. More so since I survived your ritual. You keep striking at me, and I just refuse to die decently. You're a poor liar, you know. It's kind of you to say so all the same. We must settle things between us somehow or other, or neither of us will get any work done. So, what will it be? Yes, well, you can thank me for that later. I don't know what concession you want from me, Warden. I expect my word will not satisfy you. Indeed, I'd almost forgotten that. Thank you for the reminder. I think it's time we got to the point here. What do you want from me? I can't imagine that you spared my life in the Landsmeet by accident. You have some plan in mind. What I want? What an odd question. I want to ride back to Denerim and sit in the war room and find no empty chairs at the table. I want to lose, nothing else. I want a line, clearly drawn, that I can defend. I want an end to this war. All of this can rightly be called my fault. Whether or not you can do better remains to be seen. But if you can make this the end, Warden, I will follow you, I swear it. Andraste, help us then. We should speak no more of this at present. Time's wasting. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised at your success. You beat me. Perhaps you can do this after all. It hardly matters now. I've certainly been mistaken about you before. Do you want something? I suppose I have a moment. Anora always did have a flair for the dramatic. She could have been a bard. Anora is a politician at heart. There's one thing she knows. It's how to move people. Well, I'm sure having you come to her rescue gave Anora no small amount of pleasure. But enough about Anora. We ought to get moving. Go ahead. Hate doesn't describe it. I've seen painted, masked lords beat an old farmer to death with riding crops. To this day, I don't know why. Is that hate? I saw good, sensible men fight armored chevaliers with nothing. No weapons, no armies, not even hope of success to see the occupation end. Is that hate? You won't believe me when I tell you this, but it doesn't matter. I never fought because I hated Orlais. This was for Merrick and for Reldon. What does that matter? He was my king. More importantly, he was my friend. Death doesn't end that. In any case, there's no use discussing this. We have much work left to do. Go ahead. He was my friend. If he'd wanted to conquer the Fade, I would have led the charge. There are men who inspire such devotion that everyone around would lay down their lives for him. And there are men who would come and go from this world, and no one notes it. What makes them so? Your guess is as good as mine. Merrick was remarkable. That's all I can say of him. He nearly did. Merrick was never one to avoid his duty. And given his preference, he would have acknowledged his son no matter the circumstance. But he had more than his honor to think of. It would have ruined Rowan, after all. She'd be reduced to a concubine in the eyes of our neighbors, and put Kaelin's status as heir in question. So Merrick made the hard choice. Eamon offered to raise the boy, and that was that. I was turned by then, and a general. You can buy respect through birth or by bloodshed, I've found. But we've been idle long enough. We should get moving. I was hunting, well, poaching, to be entirely honest, when a boy my own age came stumbling out of the woods. He was so dirty, you'd have thought he'd been dug up out of the ground. He was bloody, exhausted, and obviously being hunted. I offered to take him to my father's camp. Yes, I didn't find out who he was for a while, though. But I've rattled on for too long already. We should get moving. Go ahead. So far as anyone could tell, she was the undisputed monarch of the whole world. She'd fall, skin her knees, and command them to stop stinging. It may have worked, too. Guaran sits in between the Brazilian forest and the sea. It's far from the old Tevinter roads. The village by our keep was never even as big as Redcliffe. There are always a few children around. Charcoal burners, sons and daughters mostly, or the children of servants. They formed into noisy gangs in the courtyard for their games. But Honora never joined them. Perhaps it was. She read a great deal. She followed her mother like a shadow about the gardens. She practiced archery and sword play. She was never idle. Solitude isn't terrible, you know. She had a free reign over the woods. If you're expecting some particular insight into my daughter's character, I'm afraid I'm probably not the best source. I'm hardly impartial. You already know the answer to that. Politics. But this is not really the time or place to discuss my daughter. We have work to do. Go ahead. I suppose that depends on how much of the kingdom was left by then. Once the border was secure, the army would have regrouped to push back the Darkspawn in the south. We couldn't, especially after Ostagar. It wasn't an ideal plan, but it seemed necessary at the time. In any case, there's no use discussing this. We have much work left to do. Go ahead. Honora is a good queen. She has been for 5 years now. Whatever she might think, I never took power from Honora. She may have felt threatened, but I most pointedly did not remove her from the throne. In all seriousness, Honora is formidable. You should know that by now. They always have before. Few among the nobles have ever been under any illusions as to who really held power in Denerim. Honora is strong enough to endure. She may make a few mistakes along the way, but she'll survive them. But this isn't the time to discuss such things. By all means. Eamon is a shrewd man. He'll be advising the boy. He'll do all right, I suppose. I was trying to be polite. Your friend may get good advice from Eamon, but he's weak. All the bands know it. You can see them. A pack of wild dogs waiting for a bone. The first chance they get, they'll pry concessions out of him. They'll pick at the throne until it's only a gilded chair with no power or authority at all. Because Eamon, for all his merits, is a conservative man. He believes in tradition and inheritance, and would never see the daughter of a freeholder, however gifted, in power.
I was a Terran. But my father was a farmer, as was his father and all the generations of Muktias that history remembers. And Celia, my wife, was a cabinet maker's daughter. Hardly a royal pedigree. This discussion profits no one. I may be wrong. I will certainly hope so. By all means. Of course. Yes.
Indeed.
Indeed.
It shall be done. It is begun. Very well. Say.
Lehman sends his regards, Warden. We're trying to keep the roads clear and safe.
It shall be done.
It's you! The Grey Warden! Andraste's mercy that you got here when you did. I thought for sure these monsters were going to get me. They all fled to the castle this morning, before the Darkspawn arrived. I thought I could make it to my home and back before they got here, but it took me too long to get down here. What a relief you arrived. By now, yes, they'd have reached the castle walls. I'm going to get out of here before any more of those things arrive. Thank you again.
Don't give them the advantage!
I shall do.
My lady, you're here. Thank goodness. They are both inside with Riordan of the Grey Wardens, who arrived this morning, just ahead of the Darkspawn. I was told he has urgent news and to send out patrols to watch for your arrival. Then we were attacked. There might be stragglers, but you seem to have taken care of most of them out here. That's rather remarkable, really. I was told to watch for your arrival, Warden. Your comrade Riordan arrived just ahead of the Darkspawn attack. He has urgent news for you. I should take you to the hall right away, my lady. They'll be waiting for you there.
It's a relief to see you unharmed. And you as well, Loghain.
Yes, what a pleasure to see you again.
The Darkspawn that attacked Threadcliff were relatively few in number, I'm afraid. It was assumed the Horde was marching in this direction, but that is not true.
Riordan tells us that the bulk of the Horde is in fact heading towards Denerim. They are perhaps 2 days away from the capital.
How certain are we that this is good information?
I ventured close enough to listen in, as it were. I am quite certain.
It will certainly fall without our armies, and there is no guarantee we can reach the city in time.
There is, I'm afraid, one other piece of news that is of even greater concern. The Archdemon has shown itself. The dragon is at the head of the Horde.
May her preserve us.
And we won't be able to reach Denerim within 2 days.
We must begin a forced march to the capital immediately with what we have. Denerim must be defended at all costs.
Perhaps not. But what is important is that we know where the Archdemon will be. If we do not defeat the Archdemon, it will not matter if Denerim is saved or the Horde defeated. And only the Grey Wardens can defeat the Archdemon. That is why we must go.
Then we march. And hope the army collected here gives you the chance you need. Arleman, how long before the army can set out?
By daybreak, Your Majesty.
Then give the order. The longer we delay, the longer Denerim will be at the mercy of the Horde.
To reach the Archdemon, we need to break through the Horde. To do that, we need the army. I see no other way.
I will give the orders at once, and will notify you the moment we are ready to march.
Excellent.
Then if you and Loghain could meet me before you retire, we have Grey Warden business to discuss.
I will have someone show you to your rooms. I suggest you all get some rest while you can. We will need it. Marrying Alistair to Honora would not have been my first choice. Still, it does keep the Theron bloodline alive, and Honora is a fine ruler. So I suppose I owe you thanks, Warden. All of Ferelden does. He insists on going. How can I say no? I am uneasy with the danger he puts himself in by accompanying you. I ask myself if he does not conspire to leave the throne to Honora after all. But Alistair knows his duty. He will do what is best. Right now, he believes that is assisting you in contacting your allies. We have sent messengers to Orlais. With any luck, the Empress will send us help within a week. I think it entirely possible, however, that she has written Ferelden off as a lost cause already, and will seek to defend her empire first. Perhaps the Grey Wardens of Orlais will be able to march and reach us in time. We should not rely on their arrival, even so.
And now Denerim is under assault by the Darkspawn. The death toll will be staggering. I wish you luck, Grey Warden, for all our sakes.
And what word have we from Orzammar? Has House Claret sent their men, or haven't they?
They're stalling, which is as good as a no. House Claret's feud with House Romald has flared up again since their son died in that Deep Roads business. So naturally they're pleading the need for self-defense.
Fine time to start with that nonsense again. I've half a mind to... Evening to you, Grey Warden. I didn't realize you were still up and about. Nothing that can be dealt with now, I'm afraid. Just one of the houses being thicker than the stone that made them.
Once all of this blight business is done, there will be a reckoning in the Assembly. They're probably half hoping we'll all wind up dead. That way they'll have one of the strongest forces left in Orzammar. Enough to face the Darkspawn all on their own, I suppose? That's exactly the kind of half-arsed thinking that got us into the mess after Endrin passed. It was our good fortune that you decided to go to Orzammar when you did, Grey Warden. For all that a surfacer needed our help, I expect we needed yours more.
Right. Off to camp with both of you, and keep the drunkenness to a minimum. We've a long way to go yet. Pleasant evening to you, Grey Warden, and good fortune on the field of battle.
It speaks.
Have you given any thought to what Anarin said? There is wisdom in his words. You are a mage, and you could be what the Circle needs most. But you never really left the Circle like Anarin did. Your life as a Grey Warden has given you a chance to venture abroad, farther than many mages have been. You've seen the world, dealt with kings and lords, Templars and apostates. You've seen the good and bad of all of these. You could bring these experiences back to the Circle, improve it with what you know. It will take time, but it can be done, slowly. I will not live to see the Circle rebuilt and made stronger and more glorious. This will be a dream I take to my grave. It doesn't have to be a dream for you.
Your wish? I got a moment's his, sure. Aye, all right then.
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive?
Let's see what this Riordan has to say.
You're both here. Good. You're new to the Grey Wardens, and you may not have been told how an archdemon is slain. I need to know if that is so.
It is indeed. I, for one, am most intrigued to hear this.
So it is true. Duncan had not yet told you. I had simply assumed. Tell me, have you ever wondered why the Grey Wardens are needed to defeat the Darkspawn? That is exactly what it involves. The Archdemon may be slain, as any other Darkspawn, but should any other than a Grey Warden do the slaying, it will not be enough. The essence of the beast will pass through the taint to the nearest Darkspawn and will be reborn anew in that body. The dragon is thus all but immortal. But if the Archdemon is slain by a Grey Warden, its essence travels into the Grey Warden instead. A Darkspawn is an empty, soulless vessel, but a Grey Warden is not. The essence of the Archdemon is destroyed, and so is the Grey Warden.
The Grey Warden that kills the Archdemon perishes.
Yes. Without the Archdemon, the Blight ends. It is the only way. We keep it secret for the same reason the joining is kept secret. Who would become a Grey Warden if they knew the end that might await them? And yet there must be Grey Wardens. Without us, there is no hope. In Blight's past, when the time came, the eldest of the Grey Wardens would decide which amongst them would take that final blow. If possible, the final blow should be mine to make. I am the eldest, and the taint will not spare me much longer. But if I fail, the deed falls on you. The Blight must be stopped now, or it will destroy all of Ferelden before the rest of the Grey Wardens can assemble. Remember that. But enough. There will be much to do tomorrow, and little enough time to rest before it. I will let you return to your rooms.
Then this will be dealt with soon. One way or the other.
So it will. Let us hope it ends for the better.
Do not be alarmed. It is only I. I am well. 'Tis you who are in danger. I have a plan, you see. A way out. The loop in your hole. I know what happens when the Archdemon dies. I know a Grey Warden must be sacrificed, and that sacrifice could be you. I have come to tell you that this does not need to be. I offer a way out for all the Grey Wardens, that there need be no sacrifice. A ritual, performed on the eve of battle, in the dark of night. Perhaps, but that price need not be so unbearable, especially if there is much to be gained. All I ask is that you listen to what I have to offer, nothing more. What I propose is this. Convince Loghain to lay with me, here tonight, and from this ritual a child shall be conceived within me. The child will bear the taint, and when the Archdemon is slain, its essence will seek the child like a beacon. At this early stage, the child can absorb that essence and not perish. The Archdemon is still destroyed, with no Grey Warden dying in the process. Not at all. It will become something different. A child born with the soul of an old god. After this is done, you allow me to walk away, and you do not follow. Ever. The child will be mine to raise as I wish. This is what my mother intended when she sent me with you. She was the one who first gave me this ritual and told me of what I was meant to do. This does not surprise you, does it? Did you not wonder why Flemeth saved your life? Why she aided you? This is why. What is important is that I am offering this to you now. It will work, and it will save your life. Because he is bound to obey you, he will comply. Consider the alternative. If Riordan fails, do you think Loghain will hesitate? He will die, redeemed as the hero he wished to be, rather than the villain he deserves to be. And you? Will they remember you, do you think? Or will you be just another Grey Warden who accompanied the great Loghain? If you would rather, consider Leliana. What do you think she would advise, if she knew the life of her beloved was at risk? I think you know. I think you have many good reasons to tell him to save his own life. I think you should consider them carefully. A wise decision. I shall wait here then while you go and speak with Loghain. I urge you to be convincing.